Okay, guys, I wanted to give you a little walk down of this track, this killer track that came in. Here's the thing that's interesting. When I heard this, I thought, man, it's got a great riff at the top, and then there's a lot of really cool stabs, a lot of cool harmony going on throughout the track, and that does two things. That makes it where I've got to be really aware not to overplay on the track, and I consciously tried to play into the unique twists and turns that happen within the track. So I just want to kind of walk you through it, show you a lick or two. A lot of this is out of F sharp, but the bridge shifts into a E flat major kind of sound, right? That kind of sound, right? So first things first, signal chain is really simple. I'm using a Lone Star right there. It's fantastic amp. It just seemed to fit the mix. I'm never a one and done kind of this amp does everything, right? This one just sat really well. On the clean channel, I used this kind of it's the second from it's just the neckmost coil of the Suhr here, and I'm using a woodshed compressor, the Suhr woodshed compressor, and then I'm using a Wampler bell. I'm going to give you that tone really quick. So it kind of gives you that like faux strat kind of thing, like neck pickup stratty kind of tone. And then for the heavy stuff, I used my Wampler gearbox, which I designed with Brian Wampler, and it sounded really, really good. I enjoy the tones, and let's just get off to the races here. I'm going to bring the track over, and we're just going to dig in, and then I'll start and stop it as we go. So here comes the track, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to have these punches. Yeah. Okay, so at this point we hear the riff that starts the top, which is really cool. It's a cool riff, and I didn't want to play over it, and so I ended up having this kind of like, you know, just play a root note kind of thing, right? Very classic root, and then into the fifth of the chord. Let's just let this thing play on out and see what we got. I'll kind of talk you through it. I'll talk you through it and teach you some licks. How's that? So you listen to the stabs. I played into those stabs. This next section played a little more freely. A couple of little melody lines there. A tapping lick. And then we get to this section's interesting because we get that G, right? Here comes again. Well, variation of it. Changing gears completely into this E flat kind of section, that kind of harmony. And now into G major kind of sound, G minor, A minor, and then a 2-5 to lead us back into F sharp. This kind of sound, right? It's kind of an F sharp minor 9. A little variation on it. And this was really important to play the riff. Right? Hot lick. Eric Johnson influence, right? I'm in some of the really fast picking at the end. Cool. All right, so a couple of takeaways there. Let's just dive into it. The front, the melody that I play, again, it's like I'm thinking about what's going to work over this F sharp minor 9 kind of sound. That's what I'm hearing as the meat of it, right? And I heard this little, that melody, and that way you kind of hear the, and then That kind of sound, right? All these notes are interesting, but they're all just in the F sharp minor scale, right? Let's walk through them. There's F sharp minor scale, and when you move certain notes, you get different colors that don't sound just like you're playing scales, right? Very scalular, but when you're just outlining the chord tones, you get a fresh kind of sound. And the next move I do is something that's kind of nice and angular, where you're outlining one note per string. Some triads, right? So you see the frame of the F sharp minor triad. And kind of walking it backwards, it looks like an E triad, but I'm just still seeing the notes from F sharp minor, you know? And into a kind of a bluesier kind of area, right? Like it's a way to go. And that's just a ghost note, just to kind of add more stuff. Kind of, it's almost like a diminished thing, right? You kind of see how that's working, right? But I'm not using it to be really on the nose. It's just to add a little ornament to the track. And then I love these bends that I've been using a lot the course of my career. I kind of stole them from like guys like Dan Huff and Steve Lukather and John Sykes. The idea is that you're taking a bend and you're moving it, you're bending up and then you're dropping back down and you're sliding the hand and then you're moving up to another bend. So let's do a basic one first, right? There's the bend to the 5. And that goes up to the root. So we're going to bend to the 5, slide with it held in to the 7, up to the root. And all together it gets this really nice like rubber bandy kind of sound, right? Kind of cool. Okay, so from there you can expand on that idea, much like I did in the track, where now you can maybe even go up to the 9. Or there's like 2 and be like 9 and minor third, right? So let's try, you know. That'd be all of them. That'd be going from 7 to root, dropping, and it's sliding up to the 9 to 3. And then I use this little like almost kind of wispy kind of move. Instead of going kind of very Timmonsy, like I love Andy Timmons playing, it's no secret, but those kind of moves you get a lot of mileage out of them because it's the stock inside notes. So the interesting thing is like trying to play all of your stock, but add ornaments to it. Really, ornamentation is what the whole track is about. How to like not just say basic pentatonic, but like add something to it. And you get some really nice colors. Now, let's give you one of the hot licks that happens, which is the taparoo thing. I'm going to give you this in a simplified format, and then you can take it and mutate it however you see fit to suit your evil means, okay? So let's take the idea of the Van Halen thing, right? Right, so we're going to take 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, right? And now we're going to hammer on from nowhere to the E. We're not going to go up and back down like Van Halen. We're going to hammer on. And we're going to play 7, root, third. Or you can play 7, root 9. Or 7, root 4, I mean, for a sus4 kind of thing. And that's options, right? And the last one is you're going to jump a string. So you're skipping a string. You're skipping the A string. You're skipping the B string. And now you can go back down it. And now the sneaky part is to slide into your next scenario, which may be a pentatonic thing. Right? That thing. So all I'm doing is changing from this shape to this shape. Right? But I'm going to do it all kind of sleight of hand. Shift. And now when I look up here in my tapping hand, I can have a couple of options there. And now when we get up here, you can really have a lot of options. You can have a couple of different options on how you want to do that, but let's just, for argument's sake, keep it simple. And what I'm going to do is when I come back from the high note, I'm going to slide this first finger up and do this. Remember this move we did down here? That, we're going to do that up here. And then we can have a nice way to add yet another ornament. So I'm tapping, I'm sliding, tapping, sliding, tapping again, then releasing the bend. Instead of just, that's kind of boring, right? Versus it adds an ornament to the top. So you can take the whole thing. And add some dimension to your playing, right? Okay, so the next section is that's got this. So I wanted to acknowledge this riff, but I didn't want to do it this early. I wanted to just kind of start rocking. And so with that, you can't just wear out F sharp minor pentatonic when it comes time for that. You have to acknowledge that. And that's what I did. I just used an enclosure around the root note to acknowledge that. So this all works over F sharp. And then here's the enclosure. So I wanted to, as a player, just be clever and acknowledge the fact that that G happens. Okay. Another move that I use in the song has got the Van Halen tap. That kind of thing, right? Where it's just, you bend up and then you use the notes in the pentatonic range. You hear him do that all through like Panama and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm a huge Van Halen fan and I love that sound. It's like the Billy Gibbons thing, but it's taken to the next step. Right? So you have some motion there in, churching it up, Van Halen style, which is totally cool. Let's jump to the E flat section that really changes the game on how this starts. This tune, again, trying to acknowledge the changes of the song, right? So from this, we're going to jump to E flat, and the best way to acknowledge that is to play. I love to really outline, I guess it's the Eric Johnson influence. Right, really outline the chord tones so you can hear everything. Right, you hear that third, 3-5-1. There it is again. And this is a nice move that's like kind of Dan Huff-esque again. Moments of Landau, moments of Steve Lukather, like all these kind of LA session cats. use these kind of tricks, and EJ does too. You notice the obvious nod to EJ with this thing, and all I'm doing is just taking a line that I like. Like take that line. And then I'm playing an octave up, but I'm using the pick and I'm basically pinching. So I'm picking and my first finger is grabbing it at the same time the harmonic. Just one octave up. One more time. So just start with just simple notes. And then you can play anything when you get used to doing it, right? It ends up being something really nice that you can use anywhere. And then obviously there was this really cool punch, series of unison things that happened in the backing track that I wanted to acknowledge. And that's just like using some like tall triads. If any of you guys have ever learned the Eric Johnson stuff, I call them tall triads, you know, drop twos or whatever you want to, however you want to think of it. The reason I call it a tall triad is you've got some of the chord in one octave and some of the chord in another octave, right? So there's 1, 5, and then 3 up top, right? And you can make really pretty melodies out of it. You know, and lead into new, great to guide new chord changes. I love that sound. It's in a lot of my tunes. It's in the tune Truth and Lie. You hear me do some like Steve Morse inspired, you know, that thing, right? So anyways, I just thought that lick was really great and I wanted to acknowledge it. Big part of what I do when I hear something for the first time. Obviously I didn't write this track and it was new to me when I heard it. And so I wanted to take all my favorite parts of it and acknowledge it and play to it, make it part of a song. That way it wasn't just me blowing chops all over a track with no regard to what my rhythm section is doing. I wanted it to sound like a complete thought, a musical idea that was working together to serve a grander purpose than just, hey, let me have a backing track and guitar karaoke time. Like that's not really ever that cool to me. If you guys like that, that's awesome. I'm just not that kind of guy. I like to play into what I'm hearing. So with that said, the next series of changes are very interesting in that they have a descending kind of line based around a B. It's that kind of thing that happens, right? So I wanted to play into that. Thirds, baby. The power of thirds is so good. And then minor third. Outlining that thing. And then when the A minor comes around, I use the same motif that I used over the E flat, which is outlining the octave. To kind of give that vibe, that Eric Johnson-y kind of vibe. But still, that's just a classic line. It's just a classic way to kind of outline the triads, and you can mix it up like what I did just there. Instead of just walking it up, you can kind of walk it with some hybrid playing for a different kind of sound. This is all just like these are all just like framework ideas that when I'm improvising and the track is pretty much improvised. I say pretty much because I definitely had moments where it's like, okay, grab this unison. Okay, acknowledge this motif in the rhythm section. But in general, when I'm just blowing over the hot licks, you know, like whatever that might be, those are all just improvised hot licks, as I call them. So let's talk about some of that real quick. This will be the last thing I leave you with. Probably some of the most advanced stuff is taking sequenced ideas and breaking the sequences up and not just playing the same thing the whole time. That's like fives all the way up, right? Or you go... Whatever it may be, it'd be like threes. like whatever they may be, fours. And combining the different amounts per note, right? So you would have like and that's combining fives and fours. So do something like that again. And again, I'm stream of conscious here, so it's really hard to do it slow, but I'll try. Ascending is the same idea. If I have that much, instead of just playing, that's just very stock sounding. Versus if you had. And you're kind of mixing everything together to give this cascading thing. And when you see stuff like this transcribed, and you see stuff like this in Guitar Pro or whatever, especially the Eric Johnson lines, it's like he's playing through the measures, right? And it's like this rolling waterfall until it's time to stop the waterfall. Okay, for the technique freaks out there, I don't do the Eric thing where it's like I go start with an upstroke and then do the double down thing. Like when he goes... That's a big Eric thing, is like the double down. I alternate pick everything, and maybe the occasional pull off. So if I have like a, I'm going to alternate pick all of them. All of that stuff is going to be alternate pick. And to me, it's a matter of getting comfortable leaving the strings from the inside or the outside. Now, here's an exercise to try. I hate exercises. I feel like I learn the best, and I've learned over the years from learning by learning songs, like repertoire, right? Let's take a 5-note grouping. Or let's take it up here in the pentatonic area, right? Real bluesy. Or let's take a major one, or not major, but normal pentatonic. That would also look like this. But instead of playing it across that, let's play it where we have 2 notes per string and then 3 notes per string. Sorry, I'm saying that clearly. 2 notes per string, then 3 notes per string. And now we're going to ascend that again. The reason this is important is because on the first cycle, it'll be down, up, down, up, down. Now it's going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it'll sound like this. So you get this ever-revolving door of picking pattern. Now, if you really want to dive in and improve your picking, you don't really concern yourself with speed so much as clarity and note dynamic. That way your notes are coming at different volumes. When you hear me do those cascading things, it doesn't sound like everything's got there's a moment. Like there's a dynamic, there's a wave to ride, right? And that's why that stuff's more stream of conscious, like I said, versus being like pre-made, pre-designed groupings. I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, knowing where the connective tissue is within each section, right? And I don't really think of like cage section, even though that may be what I'm doing. I'm not really blocking off everything in my mind. I'm just saying, okay, if I've got to go from F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, and then F sharp, right? I'm looking at all the different ways I can travel throughout the fretboard, connecting everything, versus playing a lick here that I know and then having to stop and go. Those are very like sectioned off type of things. They don't flow through much. That flows, right, a lot better. Like you see the connective tissue from the slides, those were all moving on the first finger. You could slide on the third finger too. Let's try that. You see how it's like valuable to be moving with one finger and then use the other fingers when you get to where you're going, moving with this finger and using these fingers to get to where you're going. Again, these are all just moments of the track. The grand arcing idea here is pay attention to the track and the rhythm section, play into that. When you hear punches and chords and passing tones, acknowledge those, make the track uniform together. Okay. The second thing is variations of ornaments, things that you can add to texturize your playing. That way you're not just playing the entire track like, and it's just a bunch of alternate picking the same notes, or it's just a bunch of legato, or it's just a bunch of, like at no point is the track ever the same, the notes delivered in the same way for too long, and keeps it fresh. Same way with tones, right? Have the clean guitar, maybe play some solos. All right, now have a dirty guitar. Make it feel like a composition and a framework that lays a nice overall story with characters. And then when you have a moment to do a hot lick, you can improvise that lick, right? And weaving it all together, and most importantly, trying to find a way to make it your own kind of thing and put your own thumbprint, your own signature on it. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed the article and the track, and I'm super appreciative to be a part of it. Cheers.